Welcome back to our Fruits Basket podcast, and today is the last episode. It's really
I
sad.
know. I was crying so much.
Yeah. So I'm Q Anime, and my co-host is Francesca,
Hello.
and we have a guest with us today who is an anime-only person, just to see how she felt about it as a whole, without reading the manga, kind of feel. And so her name's Night Owl. Say hi.
Hello.
So
Hi.
yeah. But yeah, we're gonna talk about episode 13, the last episode. And but I think we're gonna go ahead and get our Hunger Games done, so we can decide who.
Night Owl should choose who she wants to.
Oh yeah, I was gonna show her who we have left here. Okay, so these are the people we have left. We have Toru, Yuki, Shigure, Mayu, Hazuma, Kakeru, Kisa, Nao, and Kurino. Quite a good bunch of people, honestly.
I'm gonna go with Toru.
We were just talking about that. Maybe she will win. Last time, it was Rin and Aya, which both fashion icons. Day 6, yes. So we have Yuki, Mayu, and Toru get into a fight. Yuki triumphantly kills them both.
Well.
So, other words, yeah. Do you want to do something other than Toru?
I'll go with Yuki.
Yuki? Okay. I mean, maybe he is the rat. He wins in everything, right? I don't know. Next is Nao, Kakeru, Kurino, and Kisa track down and kill Kazuma. You know what? Everyone kept, trying to, raid Kazuma's camp, the whole game. People kept stealing his stuff. So they finally just decided to kill him, I guess. And then Shigure passes out from exhaustion. We have a feast. The cornucopia is replenished with food, supplies, weapons, and memorials from their tributes' families. Nao decides not to go to the feast. Yuki ambushes Shigure and kills him. Let's see. Kisa sets an explosion off. Kurino, Kakeru, no! Maybe I should go Kisa now.
Wait, I'll take Nao.
Okay. In other words, we all betting on someone other than Shigure.
Yeah!
Why are you here? You're winning. Yuki stabs Kisa in the back. Oh my gosh, if I tried it. Now, wait! Now bleeds out due to untreated injuries. So here's everybody that died.
She just comes in here and wins right when we've been doing this for weeks.
Oh! That's what I'm saying!
That's so funny.
I guess Yuki is the rat. He always wins. We should have seen this coming.
True.
The
Realistically.
hero of Fruits Basket. Well, finally we finished our Hunger Games. Now we're going to go back. So episode 13 was See You Again Soon, which I remember when we saw the Japanese of this. It's when they leave, say when they leave their houses, they usually say that kind of saying. Night Owl's has a minor in Japanese, so, and she was telling me that. So so it's kind of you're gonna come back kind of feel. So that's what we kind of get at the end of this. So, but anyway, we get the date.
Woo!
Yeah, I was I didn't think we were gonna get the zoo date. We did.
Said Mini Isuzu-san.
It's their first date, so Uo and Hana have to be there because they said they would. So, and then I love how they're complaining about how the zoo sucks and how they should have went to amusement park or something fun. And then we have Uo cursing Kyo, and the thing with me, Toru's also well, it was actually my idea to go to the zoo, and they're oh, this zoo's great. We were just kidding. We love this.
Yeah, for real.
It's once Toru says she likes it, it's oh, okay. But they went. Toru sees there's a place where you can pet cats, so of course she's let's go see the cats. So that's where they go, and I'm at the part where There was also a part where like Hana was like saying how like she might like show her underwear or something. I don't forget what it was. She
Yes,
said
yeah, something about when you bend down, you might show your underwear. Just being crude.
yeah, or something. But she still will go see the cats because Toru wants to. But and then they're in the cat room or whatever, like of all full of cats, and Hana is like has a black cat.
It's her familiar.
But we do see a scene where like a cat like looks at Kyo and like walks away. It's just like everything has changed. But then we get the scene about the when he broke the beads and Toru picked them up, which was really nice, and I like that one. How he says like love is like accepting people's past and their future. I always liked that scene a lot, and then she kept them.
Yeah, it was so sweet.
But then we get Yuki and Kakeru hanging out. They're talking about college, and so Yuki obviously like Yuki's a genius. He should go to college. I don't know. I always wondered what he like was gonna do, like his job, like
Yeah, I
future.
wonder that for all of them besides Kyo, who's like obviously gonna run the dojo.
Yeah, and say Toru, like she was just gonna get a job, so like, but still, I wonder what it was. So
Yeah, probably something. She doesn't really care what she does for work. I don't think she's just like, oh, I'll work at any job.
probably just still cleaning or something. She kind of does that anyway, so she loves to clean. But yeah, they're talking about college, and Yuki's going to like a farther away college. So Kakeru's like, "Does Bachi know about this?" And he's like, "Well, duh, yeah." And then he does the whole like, "Oh, you're ready for adulthood now," or "How does it feel to be adults?" or whatever. And like, Yuki warns him not to say that in front of Machi. So, but I remember in the manga, this whole scene, like, I know we didn't get Kureno's girlfriend, but she was there.
Kakeru's girlfriend.
Oh yeah, dude. Kakeru's, but she was there. I forget her name, but
Komaki.
thank you. And you're better at names, so I just usually like. And but then Yuki asks Kakeru like if he's going to college, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I wasn't going to, but like everyone was like wanting me to, so I am." And I remember in the manga, he was like, "I wasn't going to. I was going to work at my girlfriend's like family business. I forget what they had." He was like, "But my girlfriend."
Wasn't it meat? I don't know.
I don't know.
I know that she loved meat.
He loved meat. Thing. Night Owl just gave me the weirdest face.
That was like her whole thing. He called her like his meat princess.
Okay.
Yes. So she like
I don't know how I'd feel about someone calling me a meat princess.
Yeah, I don't think she liked it that much either.
Yeah, no, she didn't. But yeah, in the manga, she was there, and he was like, "Oh, but my girlfriend really wants me to go." So it was a little different, but I mean, other than that, pretty much the same stuff. But then we have Machi come to the door in the anime, and Yuki's like, "Oh, you did come," and Kakeru was like, says his weird, lines to Machi, and he gets punched. So. But then we go back to the zoo with Uo and Hana, and Toru has to use the bathroom. So they talk to Kyo. Oh, first, like, Hana reads Kyo's mind. And
Yeah.
and like he's like wondering how she's like not sweating on her black clothes. But then Hana says like confronts Kyo about him taking Toru away because she can tell from his waves that he's going to. Kyo tries to say sorry, but then she's like, "It's okay as long as you call me mama," or something like that.
Oh my god, she's so funny.
And then I loved how they're like, "Actually, Kyo, we like you. You're nice, but you're dumb. Like really dumb, but you're nice." So then they just, kind of do the whole protect our Toru kind of. I always thought that like her parents, like second parents in a way of Toru.
Mm-hmm.
Then we just get like a picture for like the graduation day.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and somebody pointed out was, you know how Kyo hated like feeling constricted before, and that's why he would never wear socks and he wouldn't wear his tie and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, now I think that's because the cat. Because now you see when they're visiting, when they're in like the zoo at the cat room, he's wearing socks, and also in the graduation photo, he's wearing his uniform normal with like a tie and stuff.
I remember he wore ties all of a sudden. Like in the manga, I was like, oh my gosh, he's actually wearing a tie. So
Yeah, I love. She really pays attention to detail. Like now that he's not the cat anymore, those cat like traits about him are gone.
Yeah, I didn't notice the socks thing, so it's kind of funny.
I wouldn't have noticed if I didn't see it. I forget. Somebody said it on Twitter. I think I forget who.
I knew they were gonna have to skip something. I thought they were gonna skip the zoo, but they didn't, and so they skipped like the little scenes of like how school ended, like in the manga, which wasn't too much, but
I don't even remember that much about it because I haven't read that part in a long time.
Yeah, it was just cute because it was kind of more like you can see Toru and Kyo dating in school kind of feel.
Yeah. I remember
So I was about that because that was kind of cute. But it was just Toru, like, she had to take the final exams that she missed kind of like afterwards, after getting out of the hospital. So we got a little more Mayu a little bit because Mayu was like, did something happen with the Somas? And Toru was like, oh my gosh, what do you mean? You know? And she's like, those two seem happier. And she's like, you mean Kyo and like Yuki? And then she's like, oh yeah, that's who I mean.
Oh yeah, definitely not Hattori.
Yeah. Then we go into where like Toru and Kyo are cleaning up the house or the rooms, pretty much. And so like, I love how they're like, oh yeah, Kyo, your room's like done too. And like, he barely had anything anyway.
Yeah, for real.
Like,
his room was like very empty already.
But then we get like little flashbacks to the first episode, and she's like remembering when she first came. And I love when she's like, "Oh, and then Kyo fell from the roof."
Oh yeah, that part was so cute. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I guess I did do that."
But then she talks about how much fun she had, and how she just really loved the place, and that's why it's so sad and hard to say goodbye. It's just because the more you love something, the harder it is to say goodbye to. I remember, like, I don't know. I think like everyone can relate to that with anything, really.
Mm-hmm. I was crying throughout the whole episode, though.
Well, did you know when you started crying?
I probably started crying around here. I don't know. I don't know. I was just crying a lot throughout the whole thing. I was just sad it was ending.
Yeah, I like the whole time I was sad, like it was ending kind of feel, but it didn't hit me till a little later. But of course, then Kyo though like hugs her, and it was so funny. Every night I was like, "Oh, it's so nice you can hug her now."
I know, especially because they're very touchy. Their love language is like clearly touch. They're always touching each other, so like they can finally hug.
Anyway, but he like reassures her and like tells her that everyone, like, she doesn't understand, like everyone loves her, like who was in contact with her that in that house, and like, you know, the whole Soma clan or whatever, not clan, but cursed Somas, I guess, at least love her, and that you love her so much that they're obviously gonna see them again. You know, it's not like this is the actual end. And he says it's just a new banquet, and I liked that. And I remember I was like, "Thank you, Kyo," because it felt like he was reassuring me, even though, yeah, we're not gonna see them.
Yeah,
again.
this whole episode, it felt like everything was like a double entendre for like the audience and also Toru.
Yeah, exactly. And but then Toru, like, her stomach growled and she got all embarrassed, and so obviously she was hungry, and that's kind of how that scene ended. And then we go back to Yuki and Machi, and I think they're in Machi's apartment.
Yeah, it is, and she's obviously cleaned it more now, so she's doing better.
Yeah,
not like broken window glass all over the place.
But so we finally got our key scene we wanted at the apartment.
Oh yes, I love that scene.
And where Yuki's gonna be in an apartment, and he like gives the key to Machi for the apartment because he's like, I don't want you to think I'm like cheating on you. And she's like, I would never think that. And he like opens the door and tries to throw it out, and she's like, wait, okay, maybe I did think. And it's so funny. And he's like, oh, we should be honest with each other. And she's like, you're so mean.
Yeah,
So-
I wish that we got to see more of this side of Yuki, because I feel like at the end of the manga, he was acting like this a lot more, just very sassy.
Yeah, same. I wish we saw more sassy Yuki. It would be great. Then she asks about if he's leaving like soon, and like I think he said they have some more time, like him and Machi to hang out, like probably the summer, and then he says how Toru and the rest are leaving, and then she asks if that makes him sad, and he was like, yeah. And then she was like, I'm sad too because I can't see you every day anymore, senpai, or whatever. And she says she'll like catch up to Yuki, and he's gonna wait for her, and they kiss. It's like, oh, how nice.
Mm-hmm. They have more kisses in the show than Kyo and Toru.
I know, right? I was
They have 3, and Kyo and Toru have 2.
I was wondering, like, I think I was like, I can't remember. I didn't look it up. I was like, did they actually kiss there in the manga? Like,
apparently, so from what I've heard, they did, but it was like very hidden. Like it was a very small panel or something.
I was like, if it did, it was not like that well shown. So-
Yeah.
But then we get like, pretty much we go to like all of the different somas all of a sudden, and first we get Kagura and Ritsu, and Ritsu's got his haircut.
I was really sad about that because it feels like the moral of the story is to grow up. You need to start conforming to gender norms. Like
Yes, I knew
like if you want to do that, like Akito wants to be more feminine, but like Ritsu, I'm like, why can't you let my boy like just stay, gender non-conforming? That'd be so cool.
Yeah, I knew you would be like. Ugh. I remember it was like season 2 when we were randomly talking about, like, I don't know why, but we were randomly talking about how, like, what would Aya look like with his haircut? And you're like, that would be weird. And you went, what if Ritsu cut like their hair? And I was like, in my head, I knew Ritsu was gonna cut the hair, so I was like,
I forgot about that.
I know. I was like,
I don't know how I forgot. I guess. Like I swear that was like I don't know how I don't remember these things. I swear he didn't cut it in the manga.
In the manga, I literally was like, who is this person? Like when I read, like kind of like when Momichi grew up, all of a sudden I thought it was like a whole new character.
Yeah, they look like Yuki, with like the color hair.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
I don't know. I wish that Ritsu's story was handled differently.
Mm-hmm.
I love Ritsu.
I really liked Kagura and Ritsu's like friendship though. Like
I wish we saw more of that. Like how when they were little, Ritsu trying on Kagura's clothes. It was so cute.
Yeah, I was like, I never really noticed it that much till like the anime. I was like, wow, they're really good friends.
Yeah, so I want to see more of these type of characters because like Kagura, I want to see more of her, how she functions without Kyo and stuff, and same with Ritsu. Just want to see what they're doing.
Yeah, and but anyway, then I remember Kagura asked about like, oh well, Shigure stopped being an author. What happened? And so Ritsu was talking about how like Mitsu's all like excited now that she doesn't have to work for Shigure.
Good for her.
Yeah. And then Kagura's like, when are you gonna get married? And Ritsu like freaks out.
Also about the Shigure thing.
Yeah.
I think that I'm still not like a Shigure and Akito fan like with them together. But I think that it's good to see that he's giving up stuff for her because before it's like he held all the power in that relationship, and now he's like her little house husband that's gonna go with her to visit Toru whenever.
I was say like the scene like they have later where he's like, oh, let's just go home, and she's like, no, we have to go to work. I was like, that's right, Akito, lay down the law.
Yeah. So I'm glad that she holds more power because before it seemed like he really held all the cards in that relationship.
Yeah. How did you feel? I wanted to ask Night Out, how did you feel about Akito and Shigure relationship? Like
I knew it kind of from the beginning because you told me.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you probably I did tell her some things, but
yeah. And like I think the biggest thing for me was like if you in the like original anime, like the 2001 anime, like Shigure is just this like funny side character dude, and then like in the reboot, like all of a sudden, almost from the beginning, like he's like sketchy and
I know Then we have I'm trying to think. We have like
Hero.
yeah, He's and Hero, but they also have like little flashbacks.
Oh
like
yeah, they're all thinking about Toru.
Toru. Yeah, they're all thinking about Toru. So each character has little flashbacks of Toru. But yeah, Kisa and Hiro, which, oh my gosh, I love them.
They're like arm in arm. I bet they're dating now.
They're officially dating. I have to, doesn't say, but I believe it. And, but I liked how, they talk about Shigure's house and wondering if it'll be like destroyed. And Hiro's like, no, it's still gonna be up. And she's like, oh, that's good. And, Kisa just starts crying. And, Hiro's like, oh my gosh, are you okay? And she's like, oh, I'm just really sad, but tomorrow I'll smile in front of Toru. I won't cry. Then Hiro tells her, like, no, you can cry. And I was like, thank you, Hiro. Because it made me think of, like, Kisa was almost being like Toru, where she's like, oh, I have to smile. Hiro and Kisa kind of sometimes represent Toru and Kyo sometimes, so.
Yeah, this little mini Kyoru.
Then we get Haru, Momiji, and Rin, which they're all just hanging out. And I remember they're talking about, like, Shigure, like, thought someone would punch him, and and, like, how Momiji says, like, oh, we're just more adults. We're more than Shigure, or something like that.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, we're basically more mature than him at this point.
But then, yeah, Momiji kind of is like, it's not fair, Kyo gets to take Toru away. But he says, like, he's gonna find a significant other that's way better and, like, make him jealous. So I thought it was so funny.
I love him. I hope he does. I mean, I know.
Yeah.
I mean, I've read First Basket.
And then we have, I was kind of happy they, like, put this part in, even though it was different, where Rin is, like, saying how she can't forgive Akito. Because a lot of people, like, fandom, like, wise, like, fans also can't forgive Akito. And I know in the manga, she talked about that with Toru, not with Haru. But, like, I still was, like, hoping that would be in there, because it's like that way you can be like, yeah, not everyone forgave Akito. Like, she, so.
Yeah, I was really glad for that, too. And a lot of people are always like, why does everybody just forgive Akito? I'm like, they don't. I mean, Rin doesn't, and we don't even know about the others. Some of them might also hold some resentment.
So, and then, but Haru, she's like, oh, are you going to hate me if I say that? And Haru hugs her and says, no, of course not. And then we get Kazuma and Hana, like, listening in. And then they're just saying, like, oh, they have so much they've gone through, but they still have more to learn and change. And even though the curse is broken, kind of feel. And makes you think, I'm pretty sure, like, I know Hana can, like, read waves, but I'm like, did she know about the curse, like, this whole time, technically?
I have no idea. Honestly,
Yeah.
I've been trying to think about that. I'm sure that she knew that something was going on, but I don't know if she knew the curse or not.
Yeah. Like, she knew, obviously, there's, like, Kyo and, like, Yuki. She was like, you guys are weird with your waves at the very beginning.
Yeah. Oh, but also, I really wish that they gave context for why Hana's here, because I really don't want to... I feel... It makes me upset that now a bunch of anime-onlys think that Kazuma, who's, like, 40 at this point, got with an 18-year-old girl. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the way they had, like, his secretary, like, at the end.
I was like, why are you guys baiting it like they got together? It made me so upset.
Yeah, they don't, so. I remember in the manga, she apparently became his cook.
Yeah.
Was what she became. And it makes sense because he can't cook. Because you remember running in, the fish, like, burning and everything. So I was like,
it's like, Cosmo's a good guy. He would never get with somebody his son's age, you know?
Yeah, I know. And, but then we go to Uo and Kureno on the phone. Kureno is, like, on the countryside somewhere, or by the sea somewhere. And she's just talking about, Toru leaving, and how it's a new journey for Toru, but she's also going to have a new journey coming up. So obviously she's going to sometime, I guess, move in if Kureno, I guess, is what was implied there. Then we had Aya and Mine, which they're just, like, making care packages for everybody.
Yeah, they're, like, just being so extra. Ayame's animations here were crazy.
Yeah, that's true.
Just spinning all over the place.
Yeah, and then I loved how they're like, well, we'll just send them all these care packages. And, like, so Yuki's care packages has to be the best.
Yeah.
Like, and And they give Yuki dresses, and I'm like, I don't know if he's gonna want that. But.
Yeah.
And then we get the Hattori and Mayu scene, which I always thought that scene was so funny and cute.
Mm-hmm.
Where they're on their date, and Hattori wants to, like, travel Japan, and Mayu's all excited. She's like, oh my gosh, I can't imagine you, like, in t-shirts, and, like, in a swimsuit even, and, like, cracking up. And then she's like, hold on, never mind. I look horrible in a swimsuit. Like,
Yeah.
I watched the dub today, and, like, she pretty much says, like, she doesn't have boobs. But, like, she literally says it, like, in the dub, like, I don't have boobs.
Yeah.
Like, and then she calls herself a flat pancake.
Yeah.
I don't know why. And then Hattori's like, well, it's too late to tell me that. It's hilarious to me.
It's so funny. I love how he's not even reassuring her. He's like, yeah, I know.
That's what they're going to do, is just travel around Japan, I guess. And I mean, they both are, like, successful, a teacher and, like, a doctor, so they're probably fine.
Yeah, Hattori got that sum of money, too.
Yeah, that's true.
They did not. Yuki don't even got to be going to college. Like, obviously he should, but, like, realistically, they all really can just live off the Soma money their whole lives, probably.
And then we have the scene of Akito and Shigure, which we kind of already talked about. Where, well, Akito's hair is growing, but it's pretty much her just being like, "Oh, we're gonna go see Toru," and Shigure's like, "I guess I have to come with you then."
And I thought it was good that she decided she was mature enough to realize she probably shouldn't go to the send off because she doesn't want to. Cause it would be really awkward if she's there, especially for, like, Rin.
Yeah, I always thought the part where Akito came out to them, like, as being more, a girl and everything, like, that Rin looked so uncomfortable.
Yeah, I feel so bad for Rin. She went through so much.
Then I love this scene. Then we get the scenes where I started crying a little bit. So, the Yuki and Kyo scene, which is, like, the simplest scene ever. But
it was so good.
Like, I know. Where it's like you can finally see that they're friends, like, or at least can stand each other. Pretty much Yuki just asks if you could talk to Toru, and he's like, yeah, she's over there. And then he's like, hey, don't mess up, stupid cat. And then he's like, mind your own business, super rad. But they both smile as they walk away. I'm just like, it feels so good. Then finally. But then we get Toru and Yuki scene, which this is when I started to cry. For sure.
Oh my gosh, it was so good.
Pretty much Yuki finally, he tells Toru about, like, how she's helped him so much and made him a person, and he's glad to meet her, and finally, like, says, like, I looked at you like a mom, and he's embarrassed about it, but he's like, I'm pretty sure a lot of people kind of feel the same way I do. And I'm like, exactly, Yuki, like, you shouldn't be embarrassed. Like,
I know, I was, like, bawling my eyes out. Oh my god.
So
Toru's done so much, and it's just I'm so happy that he's telling her how much he means to everybody, and I really hope that she knows that.
Oh yeah. And he pretty much just says, like, everyone loves you, and then Kyo, like, saying that everyone loves her comes in her head. And today when I was watching, I was like, that's really cool, because, like, I've been watching season 1 again. In season 1, it always seemed like it was her mom's, like, words she would hear in her head all the time, like Kyo's, like, words in her head. And I was like, again, her, like, replacing her mom with Kyo kind of thing. I was like, so Yuki just says thank you, and then Toru says, I'll see you again soon. And then, like, they show, like, this scene where, like, they're having, I guess, maybe their last, like, supper together. Like, I don't know for sure, but in Shigure's house, and that was like, I was like, why are they showing this? That was when it hit me real hard. I was like, they shouldn't show this. It was just them eating, and I was like, why is this here? I don't know why. But then we get the whole, like, future, like, way into the future thing with their grandchild. We get to see, I think it's funny, she had, like, little dolls of, like, a cat and a rat. She's like, oh, where's Grandma and Grandpa? And I loved how they're like, oh, you should call him, or she said, oh, where's Toru and Kyo? And then she's like, oh, you should call Grandma and Grandpa. And then the grandchild of Kyo and Toru was like, said something along the lines of, why? It's not unpolite to call them by their names. And it made me go, like, whoa, because, like, the very beginning, I'm thinking more of Yuki, obviously, but, like, he was very, like, even, like, Kyo didn't call Toru until, like, the end of season 1.
Yeah.
So It was like
I know
shown.
in the sub she said that Toru said it was okay.
Yeah,
Which of
but
course
I mean,
Toru would. She's like, yeah, call us by our names, whatever.
yeah, but I just thought it showed like so much of like generations later, like they're such more like open, you know, like
Yeah,
I
and
don't have.
comfortable.
I know it's more about the culture thing, honestly, but I was like, huh, about that.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, like it shows like the mom, but it doesn't show like the dad of the grandchild, and I think it's because it's Kyotoru's actual son, and so they're like, let's not show his face. I don't.
Yeah.
So, but then they have the shelf of all the things,
Mm-hmm.
and I loved that because it was like, you know, at the end they always show the shelf, and so they finally had the shelf of, I don't know, wedding pictures and their kids and the beads and hat and just everything on the shelf.
It was so cute. You got like a really what's it? It's his name Hajime? I forget. Their their oldest son. You saw like a tiny little sliver of him in the one picture.
Yeah, Hajime. But anyway, they're like, oh, grandma and grandpa are out on their lovey-dovey walk. Leave them alone. And then it shows like the back of Kyo and Toru walking and holding hands. And I loved at the end it has Kyoko saying how she wants Toru to live happy and she was happy in sad times to grow old like that. And then it shows the hat at the very, very end. And then it was like over and I was like, no.
I know. I was at this point. I'm just loud crying. My grandma can probably hear me in the other room crying.
And I remember being like, going to the end, being like, is there anything else? But I knew there was nothing else. But yeah, it was just so sad. Do you know about the whole thing where, like, you probably do, where, like, it was so good that, like, for a second in my anime list, it was, like, number one?
Yeah, and then
Ugh.
FMAB fans banned it with 1 stars because they wanted to keep their show at number 1.
Yeah.
It's,
I was
it's
like,
so annoying. I love Full Monogamist. It's so good, but oh my gosh, people who will spam a show with 1 stars that they never even saw.
yeah. And so I love that. I love the anime. Like, I don't have nothing against Full
Yeah,
Metal
for
Alchemist.
real. But I'm so glad it was even. It's still up there in like I think it's at number 4 now, unless I'm mistaken. But it's
Yeah.
still great that it's up there.
Yeah, and I was like, it was like, I remember you were saying how, like, this is probably one of the best animes of all time, and I'm like, you're so right, because of that. So yeah, but that was the end, and I was like, oh no, what do I do with my life now?
For real.
So
I'm just like Fruits Basket has been so important to me these last 2 years. Like I've met so many people and like it's been such a big part of my life that's like what am I gonna do now?
but I was just thinking, like, overall, with season 3, or like, I don't know, the reboot in general, I guess, was there like anything they should have done differently, or do you think it was just like perfect?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was really good. I think, there's just some minor things here and there. Like I wish um they could have shown more with like the student council and stuff and Yuki and Machi's relationship.
Yeah.
But like I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, they rushed it. It's horrible. It's really good, and it doesn't feel rushed if you haven't read the manga,
Yeah, same. I was just thinking, like, I was like, maybe so the only thing I would change was, yeah, maybe more like of the student council or Machi Yuki, and I was like, if they just had like 3 more episodes like added on, I know that wouldn't be a core, but like if they added like, had 16 episodes or 13 for the last season, I was like, they could have added in like student council stuff. But
Yeah, definitely.
do you have anything you want to say, or and say she
Yeah, I
knows
was gonna-
some stuff that I've told her about the manga,
Uh-huh.
so she kind of knew
Yeah.
some things. But
I think I agree. I wish we could have seen more Yuki and Machi. It felt like that relationship just seemed rushed just because we didn't see like it develop that much.
Mhm.
Like it was just kind of like it seemed like they like each other, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay. I don't know. It just felt that way to me.
Yeah, I
No.
could totally see that.
Yeah, I could see that where people who haven't read the manga, especially, like, they got like the most important things in the manga, like, like Machi's backstory and everything, and like Yuki kind of helping her and all that. Like that was the most like important stuff. So like that's good. But I think my favorite scenes from season 3 were obviously like you both know this, Momiji like growing and leaving and all that like every time. And then I really liked Akito's backstory stuff. Like I don't remember it that much when I read it, but like it was just so intense. Like in the anime, I was like, wow, this is really good.
Mm-hmm.
And then also definitely Kyo and Toru getting together. I mean, that was probably my God.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I think for me, my favorite stuff was definitely the Kyo and Toru getting together, and then everything else is like the painful stuff. I love the Toru falling off a cliff. Like, it sounds so bad when I say I love that, but I just like feeling. Yes.
No, I almost wrote that down as one of my favorites. I was like, well, she fell off the cliff. Like,
Yeah. Kurno gets stabbed, Toru falls off cliff.
yeah.
So calling Toru, saying he's disappointed in her. Literally, just all the stuff that makes you feel pain. I'm like, those are my favorite parts.
Yeah. I remember, like, the episode where Kurno got stabbed, I couldn't tell Night Owl about it, like, what was going to happen. So I just kept going, oh my gosh, this is the chicken episode. That's what I call it. And it was more about Akito than Kurno, honestly. And I just couldn't.
You kept saying chicken and box. I think it's the same episode where, like,
box.
they have the box.
Yes.
Like, special box that was supposed to be so important. Empty.
Yeah. Was there anything when you watched it that you were like shocked about or you were like confused about, like that I didn't tell you about?
Shocked? Probably Kureno getting stabbed.
Yeah.
I did not expect that. I knew about Toru falling off the cliff.
Yes, I told you
because
that.
You hinted to that several times.
Yes.
But Kureno, no, I did not know that was going to happen. Like, all of a sudden she stabs him and I was like, what?
For real.
What?
Anything you were confused about, like when you watched it, you're like, what? Like, not shocked, but like, you were like, how does this connect or something?
Mm-hmm. I was confused during the Kyoko thing, and it's so funny. I knew there was a connection between them because, like, it was hinted several times.
Mm-hmm.
But all of a sudden, he starts, like, having this, like, violent flashback. And I'm like, what was so awful that could have happened? What was it? And for, like, an hour, I'm like, what happens? I don't understand why it's so, like, intense. I can't tell you.
Yeah, I couldn't tell her. So
The funny thing is, like, if you go and rewatch the series, it's hinted at so early. I think the earliest is episode 10, because Kyo is having a nightmare. And it's Valentine's Day, so later you assume it was about it being Valentine's Day and Kagura coming to get him. But then you realize he didn't even know it was Valentine's Day, so no, he was having a nightmare about, like, Kyoko and his mom.
Yeah, that was the same episode where, like, he runs into the woods or whatever, and Toru, and, like, they show, like, it's really blurry, but they show, like, you know how her bag goes, like, flying?
Mm-hmm.
It was, like, really quick, like, kind of her bag flying, and so, yeah.
They set up this stuff so early. It's literally episode 10.
I know, and that's why I was gonna say, like anyone who's, like, watched the anime, like, you should, I know it's, like, a lot to do, but you should rewatch it again, just because now that you know, especially Kyo's part, now you know Kyo's, like, story, and you watch it again, you just, his character is, like, so, like fleshed out more. You're like, oh, now I understand why he acts like this and everything. It's, like, really cool. And like we said before, if anyone hasn't read the manga and really interested, you should go read it. Also, there's Fruits Basket Another, which is, like, their children, which I haven't actually read that.
I've read it. Well, I've read most of it, I think. It was, like, weird because it was hard to read it online. I might have to get the physical copies because some of the translations were kind of hard to understand.
Yeah, I tried to read it, and it was weird because of the translations, and also just, like, I was like, this looks like Kyo, but it's not Kyo.
The, like, monkey brain in you was like, not Kyo? It's not Kyo.
Yeah. So, but I know things about it because of, like, the fandom in general have told me. So, yeah, there's also that. And then I know you probably weren't happy about this, Francesca, but they are gonna have an OVA about and Kyoko and how their love story or whatever. As long as they show baby Toru, like
Yeah. I mean,
watch it.
yeah, it's hard. It's like I'm like I want to see more Fruits Basket, but I don't want to see this. Like, why couldn't they do Fruits Basket another?
Yeah, I know a lot of people are like that. But also I still watch it, and the way I see it, it's like I guess in a way, like if you didn't want to see the Katsuya stuff, you don't have to watch it. But if you did, now you don't have to watch actual Fruits Basket and see it. You can.
Yeah, exactly.
So in a way, I kind of see how that worked, but.
Hmm.
So in a way, Fruits Basket is not over, but it is. I think it'd be really cool if they did like OVA of like the student council.
Yeah, that'd be great. Just the misadventures of Yuki and the student council.
Yes, that'd be so fun. Because like they can do like a little more about like like Kimi, Machi, and Yuki in general, and then maybe do Kakeru, girlfriend stuff. So I was like, they could do a lot with that. Is there anything else you want to talk about under the Fruits Basket umbrella?
I mean, I guess like I just want to say thank you for doing this podcast with me. It's been so fun. Like just getting to talk about Fruits Basket and every week and like or every other week. And
Yeah.
it's like I don't know. I'm still very emotional about it ending.
Yeah, same. I was like, it was so much fun because I remembered starting this podcast because I was like, it's COVID. I'm bored. Let's just talk about Fruits Basket. And I was always excited because I was like, yay, now I get to talk about Fruits Basket and like not be like people I don't know, judging me. Not having to tell Night Owl all about it. But that's kind of happens with every fandom that someone likes. I think they just kind of go off.
And this is definitely the fandom I've been most involved in. It's like I think when I was a teenager, I was in fandoms, but I wasn't such an active participant like I am now with Fruits Basket. So it's like I've got to meet so many cool people. It's just been so cool, and I'm glad that there's so many fans now because it feels like now the fandom won't necessarily die right away.
Yeah, same. I feel like it's Fruits Basket all of a sudden came back alive, and it's just like, and people are gonna watch it like a few more years from now, even because they're like, oh, that one anime that came out a couple years ago, and they'll like still watch it. So I'm like, yeah, I would say thank you, Francesca, for like doing this with me. Like, I don't know, I found you out of the pool of people that I'm getting. No, you were the only person.
No, I remember it was like in one of the group chats. You were like, "Who wants to do podcasts?" Immediately, I'm like, "Oh my god, that sounds so cool!" Me.
But anyway, yeah, if you guys want, you can go follow Francesca at her Twitter. That's in the description below. I'll also put like something about Night Owl down there. She has an older YouTube. Is it K-pop mainly? Yeah, K-pop stuff. If you like K-pop, I mean, there you go. So, but yeah, thanks for everybody who has been listening. And I know a couple of people who've reached out to me and were like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's ending." So I guess that's about all I can say. And I hope all the Fruits Basket fans, stay together, Itzimo. And ever have a Fruits Basket question, reach out to me or Francesca.
Yeah, we'll probably know.
Yes. And thanks for listening, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.